give someone a book, amazing things can happen. When you read a book, amazing things do happen. Give someone a book and change their life. National Book Week, 7th to the 13th of September. Visit sabookcouncil.co.za for more information. This is an SABC Foundation-supported initiative.
Now, according to a study conducted by the South African Development Council, only about 14% of South Africans actually read books. And listen to this, only a mere 5% read to their children. Now, in an effort to improve these statistics, National Book Week, which is the longest running and most successful reading promotion campaign in South Africa, has introduced the Buy a Book campaign with the aim to see more books in South African homes where there are none. The theme for this year's Book Week, which starts on the 7th of September and runs until the 13th, is Going Places. So, to tell us more about this campaign, we're joined in studio by the Deputy Minister of Arts and Culture, Rejoice Mabudafhasi, and the CEO of the South African Book Development Council, Elitha van der Sandt. Good to have both of you. Thank you for joining us on the program. These stats are scary. And I say that every year because they almost seem to stagnate. They're not getting better, are they?
We actually haven't done another survey. We're planning to do another survey. But it's unlikely that it would have changed because there have been no real interventions to change it. And that is why we, for example, say that National Book Week is the longest running reading promotion campaign, because there hasn't actually been a campaign that has consistently run to change those statistics. So it's about a good time now to do another survey, another random sample of the population.
Good. Is that in the pipeline, Deputy Minister? To do something like that, another survey, to see how far we've come in terms of literacy and reading in South Africa?
Yes, it is in the pipeline. It's not, I won't say it's in the pipeline because it has already started.
Good.
I think from that time, taking it to now, there is some improvement. That is why you see us putting up libraries in the rural areas and also other campaigns. You know, we encourage storytelling and many other initiatives that we are doing through, where at schools we've got our ambassadors who are artists who are also encouraging the children to read.
Yeah.
But above all, I think now as we have got this campaign, we maintain the momentum. We don't just do this campaign and it's quiet. We still continue in many other ways in the communities out there, and also that initiative that they've started of buy a book at 20 rand. So we're making many interventions so that we are able to make sure that the South Africans get down to read, not just read to impress, but to understand and to love reading. And I mean, as they read, they discover that by reading you grow, by reading you discover other things, and that will be able to build the country and themselves.
Yeah. Let's talk about some of the reasons behind why there isn't necessarily a reading culture in South Africa and why we need to instill it more. So what is it? Is it that books are too expensive? Is it that there is no access to books? Or is it that we still find large sectors of the population actually cannot read? Talk to me about some reasons.
I think a major thing is behavior and attitude. So it's whether you see the book as an important part of your life. And that has never really been done in South Africa at this scale, where we had asked everyone and had shown everyone that books are an important part of everyday life. Historically, it was never promoted to a large section of the population. Books are also expensive, yes. That's one of the key reasons coming through from our survey, we can see. And then also that there isn't a library nearby.
Okay.
So those are the top reasons why people aren't reading. So we need to change that behavior, and we do it through campaigns like these.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, which is so important. But when it comes to distributing books at schools, and not necessarily just textbooks that are used for learning, how do you do that as the department? And do you reach the schools that need it most?
Yes, let me first start by saying we are in partnership with the Department of Basic Education.
Good.
And because we are in partnership, they also have got libraries. And they've got libraries in some places, but they are really working hard that schools have libraries of reading not only the textbooks, but to read other literature. And also, if you can have a look at our libraries that we are putting up these days, they start from grade R right up to adults. So they were building interest in children that when they leave, when out of school, they run to the library. I've seen it already in some of the places that I visited. So it is the problem of not having access to the library itself, the structure.
Yeah.
You find that, especially in rural areas, I mean, you cannot motivate a person when the person stays 12 kilometers away from the library.
This is it.
Yes.
This is it.
So we're trying by all means that we build these libraries in the rural areas so that they're accessible. And another thing, at home, to encourage children to read even at home. If you get a book, after doing their homework, they can read. But children are very interested in reading. I've seen it, the young ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is not, I mean, this campaign and Book Week is not, I mean, this is not just a South African thing. This happens all around the world. I mean, I see some countries like, for instance, as soon as I sort of did a search on Book Week, one of the first ones to come up was Australia. And this has been around for almost centuries. How long has this been around in South Africa for?
We're in our 6th year this year.
6 years, okay.
And yes, we're 6 years, and that's part of the problem. You can see other countries have been doing it for very long.
That's the thing.
So we need to consistently build it, keep the momentum, as the Deputy Minister say, and all of us have a role to play to go out and make sure that somebody's reading.
Yeah, which is so, I mean, you know, when you read, so much more happens. You get transported to places that no one can take you to except your own mind, and that's what's so beautiful about reading. But what I think is quite scary is also the fact that not many parents read to their children. Why is that the case? I mean, why do we feel, is it that we're too busy? Is it that we just don't have the time? Or we're not hands-on parents these days?
I think it's a combination of it. Perception of value is very important. If we perceive value in something, we'll do it. And so that is what we should be doing through the campaign as well, is to show and to demonstrate the value in reading, and to demonstrate storytelling, for example, which is a hook into reading.
Yeah.
To get more parents to read. But also in more than half of our households there's not a single book, leisure reading book. So we need to get more books in the home. So that's where the Buy a Book campaign comes in. At 20 Rand from the 7th of September, you can go and buy a book. Those of us who are readers and who are able to afford it, go and buy a book at Exclusive Books or Bargain Books and give it to someone who does not own a book.
Yeah.
Then you can start attracting the perception of value and start making the difference, because then I own that treasure and I can see what it does.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So when you say 20 Rand, talk to me a little bit more about that.
It's selected books, so we've got selected titles that are available in Exclusive Books and Bargain Books. You go in, you buy this book, if you get into the store you'll see it displayed. You buy one of these books at 20 Rand, there's a buy a book bin in the store, you can drop it in the store, and National Book Week will, with their reading promotion partners, distribute the books. Or you go out and there's someone in your circle who's not owning a book or having a book, and give it to that person.
And give it to them. I think that's absolutely fantastic. I love the idea. One of the other big issues, and perhaps, Minister, you can give us a little bit of background on this, is mother tongue and indigenous languages, because, you know, there seems to be so few books out there in different languages, and you know, we live in a country with 11 languages, so many want to read in their home language. Yes. What's happening with the progress there?
No, we've got the program that is running on, that we're encouraging what we are doing with basic education, that every school should have an indigenous language, at least one indigenous language. And also the books are being published these days. I can see more of them coming out. And by the way, we've got during this National Book Week, we've got our bus going places. That bus that will be crisscrossing, it will be carrying books of all these languages, indigenous languages. So when we arrive at a community, we give them the relevant book. We've got the books that are published in indigenous languages, and we encourage it, and we encourage that children also be taught an indigenous language at school.
Yeah, that's. I think it's essential. I mean, that's
so I just wanted
again another partnership with the Basic Education Department.
Yes, I also wanted to add one dimension on parents who don't read to children. it is still difficult, especially in the rural areas. There are parents who are illiterate, who can't read. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's one of the problems.
It's a huge problem, and something that needs to, if possible, be rectified. But it's going out.
We are doing through ABET, even our libraries that we are building.
Yeah.
We also have got a section that we have got the ABET classes.
Brilliant.
To teach
the
communities. Yes.
Communities to read.
Yes.
You talk about the theme Going Places. You mentioned the Going Places bus. I'm not sure, but does Going Places perhaps mean, when you read, you can go anywhere?
It means so much. We can physically go places with a bus during National Book Week, but we don't need to go anywhere in order to go places.
No.
By reading, we can go everywhere and anywhere.
Yeah.
We transcend all our limitations.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable. It really does what it does for you. It's just it grows your mind. It takes you places where perhaps you'll never get to in your life, but you can't say you've never been there in your mind, which is always a nice thing. It's lovely to do. It's a cheap form of travel, and a beautiful form of travel.
It is indeed a cheap form of travel. And we're also creating self-reliant communities then, because we are then able to think out and find our own solutions, because we have read more and we have been exposed to more, which means we can make better informed decisions. So it is a very inexpensive development tool for this country.
Yeah. Is it getting more difficult to create a reading culture within the youth? Because, the youth, there's, as we all say, iPads and all these games, and there's movies out there, and there's television and cartoon networks and all of these things 24 hours a day. To actually get a child to go to his room or her room and read, does it happen? Is it a lot more challenging to do something like this?
I think it is more challenging because the youth are exposed to an array of things.
Oh, and social media. They would rather be reading their social media feed than actually opening up a book.
Yes.
We on the bus we have Funza Literacy Trust who specifically work with youth. So you have the Harmony High series. So it's also about content, the kind of books that you are putting out to these youth that are specifically targeted to youth. And it's also available on their mobiles. And electronically, digitally. That's the other way that you actually get to the youngsters.
Keeping up with technology and the times.
And the times, yes. Actually, I wanted also to add, I've seen now there are some schools that they start them from grade 1. They give them a book to read. They say you need to read the book at home. Then the parent or whoever is there assist them to read. And they can read, and at the end of the week, they return the book, but they must say the story, what they were reading about. So they make it a habit that every week they give a child a book. They're aware that parents might not be able to give them those books they don't have. So they give a child a book to read for the whole week, and at the end, the homework is to write about what you read about. Yes, listen, I think it gets them to that habit of reading.
Which is a phenomenal thing to do. So, all right, so let's give out those last few details once again. We've got Book Week that's coming up now. It's between, just remind me the dates again.
7th to
13th of September.
Yes.
Selected bookstores, you can go in there, buy a book for 20 Rand, put it in a box, and that'll get distributed to families and schools perhaps that are not able to afford these books, or take it home yourself and give it to somebody that you feel needs a book and can't afford it themselves.
Don't take it for yourself.
Definitely don't take it for yourself.
Get it to somebody who doesn't have a book. That's the aim of it.
We also have an appeal that as this bus crisscross, it will be having storytellers and ambassadors and everybody. Please, where it stops, please communities, we are appealing that come and join that bus, come and join those people there. You need to participate there.
Yes.
Please,
fantastic.
Wherever it stops.
I love it. I'm glad you said don't buy it for yourself, because everyone's going to run out now and say, yay, there's a book sale on. Yes, but it's a book sale for people that can't afford the books.
Yes.
Don't go buy it and put it next to your Kindle. All right, that doesn't qualify you. Thank you so much for coming in. Good luck. Keep it up. 6 years, you've been doing great work. And like we say, 60 years is what we're aiming for. And let's see how far we get. Deputy Minister in studio with us this morning of Arts and Culture, Rejoice Mabudafhasi, and of course the CEO of the South African Book Development Council, Elitha van der Sandt, speaking to us about this year's National Book Week. Those dates again, the 7th of September until the 13th of September. All right, now let's turn on